Penetrating the Egyptian Market by Gabriela Alomar, Jennifer Herman, Cameron Isaacs, Alejandro Guerrero, and Lawrence Weigel. Geographic factors. Egypt's economic geography is unevenly dispersed throughout the country in part by socioeconomic differences that exist in different areas of the country. Areas like Cairo and Lower Egypt foster more production and higher wages and income. Additionally, people in these areas tend to have a higher standard of living. Consumption is higher in these areas as well, which allows their economy to grow. While some indicators for differences in standards of living across Egypt are minimal, the rate of females that are illiterate in Upper Egypt is 3 times that in Lower Egypt, indicating a significant difference in the educational system between the areas, which contributes to the area's economic growth. Natural resources. Some of Egypt's biggest natural resources are oil and natural gas. The country has large oil reserves that they export for large profits annually. Oil fields in the Mediterranean seabed were recently discovered as well and have created another option for drawing oil and generating increased revenue. Another one of Egypt's natural resources is the Nile River, which many Egyptians rely on for their living. On top of the aforementioned, Egypt also has rocks and minerals like phosphate and limestone as natural resources. Bees and papyrus make honey and paper respectively as well. Major industries, imports, and exports. An important industry in Egypt is the oil and natural gas industry, as the large reserves produce a significant amount of oil marketed towards Turkey and Israel. Egypt has a prominent chemical, steel, and agricultural industries as well. Important imports include wheat, produce, cars, petroleum oils, ferrous weight and scrap, and parts for motor vehicles. Egypt's exports include petroleum oil, petroleum gases, mineral and chemical fertilizers, and gold. Economic environment and infrastructure. As of now, economic growth in Egypt is weak as they continue to deal with political transition and changes. After the 2011 revolution and removal of the president earlier this year, positive changes have been taking place. However, the political instability has taken a toll on the economy, as Egypt currently has a very high debt and unemployment rate. Also, Egypt's infrastructure is mostly underdeveloped. Many roads aren't paved, and the growth of the automobile industry in Egypt has caused the roads to become crowded and less efficient. The construction and growth of infrastructure often rely on foreign direct investment, but has been negatively affected by the recent political instability. Demographic trends. Egyptians consist of 90% Muslims and 9% Coptic Christians, meaning that all government agencies and businesses recognize all Islamic holidays. Fridays are considered holy days, and therefore every establishment but emergency services are closed. Most of Egypt's population lives along the Nile River and has one of the highest population densities in the world. Approximately 1/3 is under the age of 15 years old, and around 3/5 of the population is under 30 years old. Barriers. Trade barriers are considered significant restrictions when it comes to making a company global. Pharmaceutical price controls mean that brand name drugs like birth controls, emergency contraception, and hormonal contraception will be set at 10% lower than the lowest international sales price. This barrier also sets a price ceiling for generic drugs between 60 to 70% of the price amount the brand name drug sells for. Barriers also include the National Nutrition Institute or the Drug Planning and Policy Center of the Ministry of Health and Population. Barriers on imports of these specialty and dietary foods need to apply for a license that costs about $1,000 and has to be renewed every 1 to 5 years subject to the product. Lastly, Egypt has a service barrier limiting the amount of non-national employees. Government regulations and taxes. Egypt's post-Civil War strife and present political instability is causing concern among the business sector over the government's role in the economy. The government has been considering additional tax increases and subsidy reductions as part of a proposed International Monetary Fund deal, potentially increasing the cost of living for all Egyptians in 2013. Although the government claims that the currency will not collapse, there is concern that rising prices may spark additional unrest as imported food and fuel become more expensive. Food prices have increased 8% in the last year, and the overall inflation has increased 7%. Intellectual property rights protection. Egypt has undertaken positive efforts, including the creation of National Observatory for Industry Products, an organization tasked with inspecting goods for patent and trademark infringement. The burden of protecting intellectual property rights cannot rest squarely on the government or laws. The people must feel vested in protecting and exposing violations. Egypt has conducted successful public awareness campaigns about counterfeit pharmaceutical products and several operations that resulted in the seizure of large amounts of counterfeit goods. The products and services. After reviewing the economic geographic environment, the sociocultural environment, and the political legal environment, it was concluded that a family planning center, the Weight Watchers program, and various snack kiosks would best suit the Egyptian market. Family Planning Center. The Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics, or CAPMAS, recently revealed that Egypt saw 2.6 million births in 2012, up from 2.4 million in 2011. However, many births are not accounted for because they aren't documented, most evident in poor areas with low productivity and literacy levels. A large portion is due in part by faulty ideologies over contraception because of the lack of adequate and accurate information available, especially in young women and in rural areas. Because sexual education in schools is subpar, a walk-in family center would help alleviate the direct and indirect costs of unwanted pregnancies, as well as inform men and women of the dangers associated with unprotected sex. In accordance to the CIA World Factbook, the contraceptive prevalence rate was 60.3% in 2008. DKT International states that by 2016, that number will increase to 74%. Although the use of contraceptives has increased substantially since the early 1990s, according to Egypt's Demographic and Health Survey of 2008, if Egyptian women had the same number of kids they wanted or thought was ideal, the total fertility rate would drop from 3.0 births to 2.4 births per woman. Funding DKT International, a social marketing initiative that reaches out to certain populations to provide safe and affordable family planning and HIV prevention, to construct a new facility or branch dedicated to Egypt's younger population would be ideal since they are already established in Egypt. Seminars, skits, and engaging activities such as the banana and condom demonstration could prove to be effective measures in delivering useful information to younger individuals of a reproductive age and rid them of any misconceptions they may have about contraceptives. Additionally, providing condoms to those who may not be able to afford them, much like any college health clinic, could help alleviate the possibilities of STDs and unwanted pregnancies. Creating a comfortable environment for nervous clients is essential as well. Therefore, employing an approachable and knowledgeable staff is imperative. By helping DKT build their presence, there may be a substantial decrease in the number of unwarranted childbirths and permitting multiple future benefits, including larger female workforce, which boosts GPA, and wealthier households as a result of the capital saved from having children. The Weight Watchers program. The World Health Organization has stated that by 2015, 700 million adults worldwide will be obese, on top of the 2.3 billion that are overweight, up from 400 million and 1.6 billion in 2005 respectively. Rates in Egyptian adults have soared from 30.3% in 2006 to 33.1% in 2008 to a staggering 70% as of now. Approximately 76% of adult women are overweight or obese, compared to the 64.5% of adult men that fall under the same category. Given these undoubtedly high rates, installing the Weight Watchers program as a means of a weight management service and creating a weigh-in center would be beneficial to the health of Egypt's population. Because Weight Watchers community is based mostly online, the weigh-in center could help those that may not have access to technology, especially if a computer room is incorporated to help keep track of progress. Weekly, bi-monthly, and monthly meetings may be held to weigh in, to teach, to express, and to solidify the support from others in similar situations. Although both genders can use the program, marketing to women more than men may be more profitable given that they have higher obesity rates than their counterparts. Gyms are only used by those that can afford the high monthly payments, and jogging outside can become tedious when sharing the unkempt roads with cars, donkeys, and other passerbys. This diet weighs heavily. With the recent price increase in fresh produce, though, keeping a healthy diet has become painstakingly difficult for the 40% of Egyptians living on $2 a day. Weight Watchers, though, has no restrictions on the food its clients can eat, only a set number of points allocated in a given day that are determined by the foods in consumption. A program with that level of flexibility would sell well in a country going through an economic rough patch and ridden by obesity. It would also give a competitive advantage over Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem, both of which require prepared foods to be delivered to one's home at a hefty price, if they decide to enter the Egyptian market as well. By helping Weight Watchers extend a branch in Egypt, 70% of its population could substantially decrease their chances of developing life-threatening diseases such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and several cancers. Snack kiosks. Once bountiful land, Egypt's arable land has decreased substantially over the last few decades as its population has climbed to an impressive 85 million. Because of the high demand for crops by its increasing civilian population, Egypt resorted to importing the majority of its food supply, 70%, particularly wheat and produce. But as prices and quality of imports diminish, food insecurity has risen. Despite this, the fast-moving consumer goods segment has grown to 11%, which has effectively counterbalanced the impact of decreasing profits in personal care and toiletries market due to weaker purchasing power from a devaluing currency, inflation, and increasing demand. Consumers spend $8 billion Egyptian pounds on salty snacks, sweet, and other treats in the last year. In fact, salty snack sector has sold approximately 130 tons each year. 60% of that number has been potato chip sales. More Egyptians are purchasing larger quantity and economic packs, especially in the snack market. According to a Nielsen report, salty snacks and soft drink consumption has increased roughly 14% and 20% respectively in the last year. As a result, opening up small snack kiosks around Egypt's marketplaces could be highly profitable. Cheap on-the-go snacks would be sold, such as potato chips and pretzels, as well as various soft drink sizes and local vendor foods in order to target those that enjoy salty foods and soda, those in a hurry for a quick meal, and those who cannot afford the luxury of fresh produce and large meals every day. Larger soft drink containers, from 330 milliliters to 355 milliliters, as well as combo meal options would prove to be a competitive advantage over other street vendors and convenience stores, especially for the latter of target markets. Moreover, as prices for produce and various other food imports decrease in time with a better economy, incorporation of said products into the kiosk could further increase sales and profitability. Also, by purchasing a food truck, the kiosk's affordability can travel to areas hosting large events in various cities. Although Egypt's economy is not what it once was, and a portion of its people cannot purchase what they once could have, the food and beverage industry is doing well for itself and proves to be profitable even during a revolution.